welcome. These are horse racing selections for Wednesday, the 3rd of May. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. Alright, we are here, the start of the official Flat Cap Callum week, although we did have a bonus bank holiday Monday vid. So, what is the plan for Wednesday? I've got a bit of volume is what the plan is. So we are stake and a half, 30 quid, and we are maximising our 8 bets for the channel. So 8 is the most I ever put out on the channel. That is what we've got, 8 bets for stake and a half, £30. So there is a lot going on on Wednesday. Very similar amount of actual races to Tuesday, but I'd have hardly done anything if I'd done a video on Tuesday. So yeah, just the way it goes sometimes. There's not loads of races with kind of huge fields particularly, but I've just gone and fishing around. I've put in a bit of craft, and hopefully it was worthwhile, and I haven't just got a load of junk on some pieces of paper written out with some Sharpie pens. So we'll find out. So that's coming up. We'll also do the review of Monday, quick stats update. There was a couple in the comments for Tuesday, just to mention. I mentioned them quickly. There was 2. One got going a bit late and was down the field, and the other one was 4th, which was okay if you were betting with Sky, no one else. Obviously, from a channel perspective, we don't record stats on anything, just solely in the comments that aren't attached to a video. I only record the tips I put out in the video, or if I make a video and so I haven't got time, and I've put it in the comments. Just so that the most amount of people can benefit. So I've got to do the review, and then I'm just going to go for a few kind of house notices, really for the benefit of new folk, but equally those people who've been around. These things serve as reminders, and sometimes I don't even realise when I say things for the first time that I've not even said before. So if you're watching the channel and wondering what it's all about, I put out horse racing selections, and my focus is value in the place market predominantly. So that's not exclusively what I do, but that is what I do most of the time. Trying to find horses that are overpriced for their place value and string them together and put them into accumulator bets. That does mean sometimes they go and they win sometimes at very nice prices. So on Sunday we had a nice little win double, 11s and 12 to 1. But predominantly it's place market. And the way I make my calculations is on a place market. So the winning sometimes is a bit of a bonus. So we have a low amount of winners because we're playing with a lot of big prices, and we're trying to hit ultimately my own kind of statistics. A good enough day should be hitting above 30% strike rate. So 30% of the horses making the frame. If we've got above 30%, we've got a chance of making a profit. Some of that then comes down to stringing them together, because they can all end up being separate bets. If we hit 40% strike rate, then we are very unfortunate if we haven't made a profit on the day, playing at the odds I'm playing at. So that's how it works. It's entirely up to you what you do with the tips I put out. I put the tips out, I put them in a staking plan. For some people there'll be far too many. That's absolutely fine. There are other places available for you to get 1 or 2 horses. Mine is a long-term betting strategy. I'm playing a long-term game where I'm aiming to beat the bookmaker. And I say the bookmaker, and I've probably not mentioned this before, because people will have different views, right? So I like betting on horses. I find it fun, right? First and foremost, it is fun. I have an interest. I enjoy the sport. I enjoy the spectacle of the sport, and it is fun. I've done it long enough, and I've put enough graft in for a long enough amount of time that I make money. So I can make money and make profit from betting on horse racing. And betting on horse racing in the main markets. So I do often occasionally put side market stuff out, but I make profit from making main markets. Now, for some people, serious gamblers, ultimately what happens is you get accounts restricted on standard bookmakers, and then people find themselves on the exchanges. And with the exchanges, yes, you pay some sort of kind of tax, if you like, whatever. I mean, I call it a tax, to kind of use the service. But ultimately, you'll get a lot better prices on betting exchanges. Newer people to the industry, to the sport, don't necessarily understand the difference between when people talk about exchanges and sports books. Sports books is your mainstream bookmakers. So, the ones I'll talk about on here, the bigger ones, Sky, 365, Coral, Ladbrokes, William Hill. It gets a bit more confusing when I say Betfair, because Betfair also have an exchange. The difference is, if you're playing it on a sports book, and that's the bets I'm putting out is on a sports book, you are basically trying to beat the house. You are beating the house that is stacked against you. So the odds are in the bookie's favour always. So what you're trying to do is find horses that are overpriced for their chances of actually performing well. That's the way to beat the bookmaker. That's what I am trying to do. That's what I take enjoyment out of doing. I'm trying to beat the bookmaker. Personally, I'm not advising this, but personally, I don't play the exchanges. And the reason I don't play exchanges, I don't get the same satisfaction out of it. So you might get better odds. You often do get better odds if you play exchanges. But what you're doing there is you're competing against other punters. You're ultimately trying to say, I know better than other punters. And if you win, you're winning other punters' money. For me, there's not anything morally wrong about that. But I personally get a lot more satisfaction out of beating the bookmakers who have the odds stacked against you. So I'm trying to beat a great game that's ultimately not in your favour. Whereas the exchanges, it's a lot more even. Yes, you pay a little bit of tax, but it's a lot more even, and you're competing against other gamblers. And I take less satisfaction out of that. So I would rather take the money from the big industry, which is why I've said right from the get-go, I don't charge any money for my tips. I never will charge money for tips. I never have affiliations with bookmakers. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in kind of making money off punters. So YouTube give me a few peanuts and a bag of crisps because the channel's got to a certain size. I think it's about £5 or £6 a video, right? So even with the subscriptions and viewers I've got, I make about £5-6 a video. So I don't make £5, I get about £5 or £6 a video. And ultimately that is a lot less money than the effort I put in. So I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it to try and well, I enjoy doing it first and foremost. I like making the videos. I enjoy it, apart from when it's going really, really bad. I enjoy doing it, and I'm ultimately trying to help people. I have systems about how I make profit, and I'm trying to share that with people so other people can beat the bookmakers and beat the game that is corrupt. There are other ways to make money. Like you can take some of my horses, and particularly some of them you fish around and you go look on the exchanges, and sometimes you can get a huge amount of difference in the prices. If you want to take my tips and do that, that's entirely up to you. That's just not how I personally play the game. So I play the game in multiples predominantly. I do bet singles, just not so much on the channel. So hopefully that's a bit of an explanation. And yeah, I'm not trying to say like I'm morally above anyone else. I'm just saying I get more satisfaction out of beating the bookmakers than other people who are punting. So I choose to do it that way, and if it got to so difficult I couldn't make money, I'd have to make a decision there, wouldn't I, about do I carry on playing or do I go to exchanges. Right now I'm still in a position where I can get access to betting accounts in sports books, so I can make it worth my while and have a bit of an interest. At some point it will ultimately become too difficult for me to do that, but you can keep an account going for a reasonable amount of time if you bet in a right way. And I'm very careful sometimes what I say. I don't like to go into it too much, but yeah, there are ways of slightly masking what you're doing. So yeah, all right. Ultimately, they will always get you. They'll always shut your account eventually. But yeah, sometimes you can go on for a bit of a time. Anyway, that's my opening gambit. That was really long, as it always is on a Tuesday night video, going into Wednesday selections. So quick rundown for Monday. I put a quick vid up on Monday for bank holiday selections. Did 4 horses on the jumps. What did we have? We had Knight on the Town that fell, went in third. Diego's Way, we needed it to come fourth and it came fifth. Ballyhome was booked for a place and then something went wrong and it pulled up abruptly in the straight. And Energy One refused to run. I mean, literally a who's who of all of the unlucky stories you can have in one bet. We then had a big price, Trixie, I think Clever and Cool was fourth, a nice price, but we needed to come top 3. Lady Arwin was about 10th of about 25 at 100 to 1 it was at the price I put out. SP shorter than that, so ran with credit. And the other one, Angel Something, was rubbish. And then we had a flat one where we had the first two placed, Further Measure and Magical Dragon, and then I think we had two dots. So we got a place double basically. So I've got it as 15 on, 12.47 back. So we start the week with a minus £2.53, and we are investing for Wednesday £30. So for the month of May, we're down £2.53. For the year, I think we're down about 71 quid because we're still trying to fill in the hole from that was left from February, March. Overall, we're on a kind of positive trajectory, and since the channel started, we are up 27% for horse racing bets in 16 months of doing the channel. So we're all right. I'd prefer it if the 2023 figures were in the positive, but I'll keep going and I'll get there. that's what history tells me. All right, so let's crack on then with the 8 bets for Wednesday and hope we've got some gems hidden in there. Couple of things actually just about those bets. What I would say, very strangely, it doesn't happen very often this. If you look at the first races at Wolverhampton, Pontefract, Ascot, all three are amateur jockey handicaps. That is a rarity to have 3 in across different meetings all on the same day. You'd normally, if you were planning races, you would not want to, say to the kind of amateur conditional jockeys, conditional jockeys, you would not really want to put three different races at 3 different meetings on the same day, because you got to spread the jockeys about. There's only so many of them. And I'm often very careful with races like that because people run them for different reasons. There are sometimes people running in those horses because they're really trying and they're thinking they've got a little gem of a conditional that's going to take off X amount of pounds. The horse is sort of been running within itself, and this is the race they've been laid out for. Because there are lots of people who put the horses into amateur jockeys races, conditional jockey races, because they're going to put an inexperienced jockey on it, so it basically doesn't perform massively well, and therefore from a handicap mark it might lose a couple of pounds. Generally speaking, if you win a conditional race, you don't really go up the same way you would do in a traditional handicap. So if you are wanting to kind of build your horse up and onto a little run where it might go and perform really well in a few races, you can often stick it in a conditional. It performs well, it can even win and not get put up anything. So it can be a bit of a minefield. That being said, the reason I'm yabbering on about that is I've got an interest in all 3 of those. So of our 8 bets, I think the opening 6 bets start with one of those 3 races. So we are stacked a little bit on some of them. And we'll find out on Wednesday after sort of whatever it is, like 2 o'clock, whether that was a good idea or not. Okay, so starting off, we've got an each-way Trixie, a win Trixie, 3 combo doubles, and 3 lucky 15s. That's our 8 bets. So, 130 Ascot, Diffident Spirit 11s, 250 Pontefract, Mask of Anarchy 14s, 750 Gowran Park, Salt Whistle Bay 40s. It's a 25p each-way Trixie. Sky Best, Coral or 365 next best, £2 is your bet. Basically, I've got multiple horses in those races, and these 3, there wasn't much in it between kind of first and second choices, to be fair, but these are all slightly my second choices, so I've put them together in a Trixie for this one. So it's just a £2 bet. Basically, the way I do these bets in terms of the prices, we need 2 places to make a profit. 1 winner, nothing. We need 2 places to make a profit. 2 winners is amazing. 3 places or 3 winners would be absolutely delightful. But 2 places makes us a profit. 1 win or 1 place, we get nothing back on this bet. So that's bet 1. Bet 2 is my bigger price lucky 15 for the day. And I've got this, it sort of seems to have just worked itself out a little bit. I basically stuck some things together and I've ended up getting gaps. So you'll see the first leg in some of these bets is a lot earlier than the rest of them. So we've got the 130 at Ascot, Global Esteem. So I've got 3 in that race. That's my number 1 pick for value. Global Esteem at 28s. And then we've got something in the last 3 races at Gowran Park. 720 Gowran Park. I don't play a lot in the 3-year-old races unless there's a lot of extra places or I like something at a price, and I think Bright and Shine's worth taking at 50s in the context of that race. So we're going Bright and Shine at 50s, 7.50 Gowran Park, Simply Sideways at 25s, and 8.20 Gowran Park, Shona May at 10s. 20p each way, lucky 15. Sky Best, then Coral or 365 are next best on that one, and that's purely down to this Ascot race where Sky are paying 5. Because generally speaking, most bookies are 5 on the bottom 2, most bookies are 4 there, and most bookies are 4 there. Most, but not all. So it's only marginally better with Sky. So that's bet 2. Bet 3, the first of the combination doubles. So I do like this. It's a decent quality amateur conditional handicap at Ascot, and I've put it with a 250 Pontefract because I've got a couple in there I quite like. So 130 Ascot, Global Esteem at 28s, Diffident Spirit 11s. I've added in Repertoire, not anywhere else in the staking plan, at 9s. Then 250 Pontefract, Mask of Anarchy 14s, and Archmoon 11s. 6 times 25p each way double. Sky Best, and then Coral and 365. And again, it's down to this 5th place on the 130 Ascot, so it's not massively disadvantageous, but how many times have you seen me hit that extra place? So it's £3 you bet. That's bet 3. Bet 4. So I've put all my Pontefract ones, apart from the combo, together. And I've done that because I'm stacked on the ground drying out, basically. So the go-in is good to soft in places. I think based on where the weather's at, I think the ground is going to dry up. I'm hoping the ground's going to dry up, and I'm hoping that doesn't lead to a lot of non-runners. But I've got horses that are kind of more good ground horses. It doesn't mean all is lost, but I am stacking on good ground horses at Pontefract, so I wanted to keep them together. 140 Pontefract, split leg. So Indian Sounds is leg A, Mucker is but leg B. That one also, apart from the fact that it's an amateur conditional race as well, it's also, I say that because one of them's an amateur and 2 of them are conditional races. That's why I do know the difference. There was amateurs and there's conditionals, and there's one of these an amateur and 2 of them are conditional, and I can't remember which way around it is. But the other thing is, there's only 8 runners, and it's the night before I'm putting these bets out. So lo and behold, you could lose a runner, and suddenly you're only getting paid 2 places. At the moment, it's 8 runner 3 places. So I've split legged Indian Sounds and Mucker, going on 250 Archmoon at 11s, 510 Willing to Please, and 545 Hostelry 13-2. 2 times 10p each way, lucky 15s. Then this one, because you've got the same place terms, 365 Paddy or Coral. If you're doing it in the morning, you'll get your bog. Coral the night before if they let you put a lucky on, because sometimes they don't. But if you're doing this in the morning, get a bog with 365 Paddy or Coral, same place terms as Sky. £6 is your bet. Bet 5, combination double with 2 of those aforementioned races. 140 Pontefract, Mucker and Indian Sounds, going on to the 150 Wolverhampton, Henry V at 16s, and King Charles only appearing in this bet, 15-2. 4 times 25p each way doubles. This one is 365 Coral or Ladbrokes. If you're getting bog with those, they are the best ones. Same place terms, no bog, Sky and Betfair. £2 is your bet. That's bet 5. Bet 6, next lucky 15. We've got an early one at Wolverhampton and the rest 3 at Kempton. What I'd give to do what I did autumn last year when we hit 3 winners in a row in 3 consecutive races at Kempton at similar prices. That would be amazing, but we'll see if lightning strikes. So we've got 150 Wolverhampton, Henry V 16s, then 7 o'clock Kempton, big jump, say if you will 10s, 7:30 Kempton, Silverscape 14s, 8 o'clock Kempton, Sandy Paradise 13-2, 20p each way, lucky 15. £6 is the bet, all on the all-weather here. Sky Best, then 365 Coral or Ladbrokes are joint next best. Bet 6. Bet 7. Here's the little win bet for the day. So I had a number now, I had about 4, I had 4 on the short list, and I've put the best 3 out as far as I would see it. 335 Wolverhampton, Lawman Bliss at 4s, 610 Brighton, the only Brighton horse for the day, Big Bard at 6-4, and then the 630 Kempton Lady Dreamer 13-8. 50p Win Trixie, £2 you bet. Bog Bookie's what you want. and is often the case when I put these out in staking plans. If all of everything else goes down, this bet basically it make us break even for the day. So if everything got lost and we hit 3 winners on here, it's worth, well, at the moment those prices it's worth £32.50 to be precise. So it would be small profit if there was nothing coming out of it. But any two would make us some small profit on this bet. One winner on its own, we get nothing. So a Trixie is doubles and trebles, no singles. Alright, and then we're going to finish on what for a lot of people might be the obvious bet. Combination double with the 2 decent field size handicaps at Gowran Park. 750 simply sideways at 40s, Salt Whistle Bay at 25s. I've added in London Palladium at 10s. Going on to the 820 Shona May at 10s, and I've added in, it's a handicap debutant, but yeah, it's a nice price, but I wasn't. There's the good thing about it is I think it might be on an interesting handicap mark. Just not sure whether soft ground at Gowran Park might be where it's interesting. It might be better off on the all weather, but El Campeador 28s. 6 times 25p each way doubles, £3 is the bet, and that most bookies are 5 here. So Coral 365, Paddy Ladbrokes, you'll get Bog on those 4 or 5 places, and then Sky is preferable after that because you'll get the 5 places without a Bog. All right, that is that. Any questions, please shove them in the comments. Happy to answer them as and when I can. And I think I shall wrap up my usual long Tuesday video there. There's no anecdotes or stories to go on the end of this one. I think I was going to end up talking about poker and playing poker in Mexico, but I'll leave that as a teaser for the end of the video, and then you can wonder what the story was about, and then at some point I'll retell the story, and you'll probably find it's slightly less interesting than your made up version of the me playing poker in Mexico. But yeah, about the time I won poker in Mexico. Anywho, that was that. So I will see you. I'll be back Wednesday night for Thursday's selections. And just outlook for this week. It's the Guineas weekends. We've got 2,000 Guineas on the Saturday, 1,000 on the Sunday. We'll see how we go with those. They're not necessarily my favourite betting heats, but I did all right last year. I think on the channel, I think I had a decent place, 3rd in the 2,000 Guineas, and we had the winner cachet in the 1,000 Guineas. So we'll see. And the week after is the Chester Cup, which is one of my favoured. So yeah, there's a few races for the year where I'd sort of say they're my favoured. The Lincoln, we've had that, and the Chester Cup early season. Then Latters at the end of the season, Air Gold Cup, and the Zarevich. I'd probably say they're my 4 favourite flat handicaps. I think I'm not ranking them, but yeah, I've got very distinct, very positive memories of all of them. Not to say that I win all the time on those. But yeah, each of them has got a very solid, distinct memory in my mind for those. All right, thank you very much. Enjoy whatever you are doing, and I shall be back Wednesday night. Bye bye.